Welcome back to OpenLine. Thank you for joining us tonight. Having a great conversation, very educational about the dangers of teen vaping, just vaping in general, not just for teenagers. Dr. Jacob Kaslow here from Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. Thank you for being here once again.
Thank you for having me.
I've already learned a lot, and we're just a half hour into the show. Ezra is on the line. Ezra, thank you for waiting. What's your question tonight?
Well, I was wondering, there's like how many people have actually died from vaping? Is it like over 25? And then how many people have died from smoking cigarettes? What is it, like over almost 500,000 a year in this country alone? And there's such a big media, explosion about the vaping. Why isn't anyone trying to take the real killer, the cigarettes, take those off the market? And you shouldn't be able to smoke them no matter what age you are. I guess that's what I want to talk about. Why such a big deal about several people dying when hundreds of thousands of people are dying from cigarettes, and why aren't we talking about that more?
Yeah, interesting question. And it is kind of hard to wrap your brain around because forever we've talked about cigarettes, they're bad, don't smoke, and we've seen, as we were just saying, a decline.
Right, and I think the difference is, so I think there's about 26, 27 deaths from vaping as far as I know. There may be more reported as of today. And yes, a lot more people are dying of smoking. Absolutely. I mean, nobody's debating that. But really what I think the important part is here is that these were touted as safe. I think that's
e-cigarettes.
I'm sorry, yes. Yeah. The electronic cigarettes were touted as safe.
Right.
These are young adults who are starting this because of marketing. Maybe they thought it was cool, their friends are doing it. These are not former smokers switching over. These are kids picking up a habit that they wouldn't have otherwise. These are not kids who probably would have picked up smoking. We have far more kids, young adults, picking up vaping than they are smoking. So we may see the smoking deaths 10, 20 years down the road decline because less people are smoking. Right. But if more people are vaping and we don't know what it does, it's going to be tough to say where we're at. I mean, if this ends up that in 5, 10 years it's more harmful, we're going to have a whole generation addicted to nicotine, needing that somehow, who then are going to be putting themselves in harm's way, in danger, because we didn't know.
And it seems like a twofold issue here is that, obviously you want to get ahead of the problem. We're seeing the red flags go up, and instead of waiting decades like we did with cigarettes to say, whoa, this probably is not a good idea, this is bad for your body, we're seeing the red flags go up, so let's start talking about it and warning people. That's a big one, but also what is just so shocking is that how sick people are getting so quickly into use, because these haven't been around that long.
No, and they haven't. And it really, we don't, and this is really what we're seeing from a lung injury standpoint. We don't know what's it doing to your mouth, to your nose, to the lining in your esophagus, in your throat, in your airway. I mean, what's it doing to your cardiovascular system? Yeah. Certainly you're inhaling, it's getting into your lungs. Is this going to make it harder to have surgery? Like, are we treating these people like smokers where we know their lungs aren't as healthy and their arteries are more stiff and so more prone to cardiac and heart disease? We don't know because it's only been a couple of years. And I think this has been said for years. When these came out, there were a lot of people who were skeptical, a lot of people in the American Thoracic Society and the American Lung who were like, well, we just don't know. Why are we going along with this? And so people have been saying it. It's just, I think we're going up against a multi-billion-dollar industry. I mean, if you want to talk about who owns the top 6 brands, it's Altria, which is for R.J. Reynolds, it was Philip Morris, R.J. Reynolds, British American Tobacco, Japan Tobacco. They own the top 5 brands.
Wow.
I mean, it's tobacco. It's rebranded, new form, way of
because
getting
they saw what their sales were doing with cigarettes.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's come up with plan B.
Oh, absolutely. When Altria, which was Philip Morris, but the name Philip Morris is synonymous now with cigarettes, so they've changed it. I mean, they bought JUUL 35% for $12-something billion years ago because they saw it. They saw what was happening. They saw this rise. They're like, oh my gosh, look at all these young adults who are using our product or using this product, and there's nicotine in here? Like, you've got to be kidding me. This is a gold mine.
Right.
So they bought in and cashed in. This year it's a $9 billion industry. As of 2024, they expect it to be $16.5 billion. Upwards of 30% of the nicotine market will be electronic cigarettes, they predict, in the next 2 years.
You said even early on, they had a very, they had a great marketing plan to get new people to use these products, not smokers.
Oh no, they went to festivals, concerts, conventions, and there were free samples handed out. And if you're touting yourself as the safer alternative to cigarettes, well, nobody's handing out cigarettes, and here's your safer alternative, try this. They're just handing them out indiscriminately. I mean, maybe you had to say, sure, I smoke, and they would give you one, but there was no like, here's the safer, here are the facts, this is how you can do it. They were just handing them out, and kids were getting them, young adults were getting them.
And then you had the flavors, it was even,
Oh, the flavors, yes.
Yeah. And luckily today, if you hadn't heard, JUUL said they will no longer sell their flavors except for mint, menthol, and tobacco, I think, here in the U.S.
And I think A, that was a matter of time. But two, the flavors are clearly meant to target youth.
Yes.
Most 3-pack-a-day smokers who've been smoking for 30 years don't want a mango flavored. That's not what they're craving. That's not the habit. They're used to. Right. So why would you make a product that your main target, your main market audience is not super interested in? So really, yes, this was to grab young youth, maybe people in their young 20s, but teens, and to say, hey, look, it's flavorful, you can hide it, it doesn't smell, etc. And then they use it, and it's like, oh, wait, nope, that's actually nicotine.
Okay. Before we have to go to break, let's go to Tom real quick. Hi, Tom. What's going on?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that it's my understanding that the FDA was given the authority to deal with this issue back in 2016, and as always did nothing because profits were on the line. So what's a few dead Americans if you can make a lot of money? And that's just the way the game is played here. And for people who don't understand that, I think they're just deluding themselves, because clearly this is an escalating problem, which we could have gotten out in front of a couple of years ago, which means at least 100 people would still be alive. But again, profit versus people, there's no question about it. Profit wins.
Yeah. Tom, I think there's a lot of truth there, and you alluded to it earlier. The FDA has claimed responsibility for this, and you said has done nothing.
I mean, they initially said by 2022, there needs to be some pre-market review before they come out. There needs to be all these stipulations. They initially said, we will do this, then they pushed it back, and then they pushed it back to 2022. It took the American Academy of Pediatrics to sue them, to say, what are you doing? What's going on? So they made the grand gesture of moving it to 2021.
Wow. And in the meantime,
here we are.
Look at the kids coming into the hospital. All right, we have to take another quick break. If you have a call, now is the time to get, or if you have a question, now is the time to get on the line. 615-737-PLUS. We'll be right back.